Let's get started. It's about 2 minutes after, so we'll have a couple people join us after we get started. So welcome everybody to Around the Water Cooler. This is the first water cooler session that we're having. Our goal would be to have them once a month, and this is a place where our site teams and our managers can come together to kind of talk about what's happening out there. This pandemic is making history, and it's changing the way that we operate daily. So we thought this was really beneficial for our managers out there to have this place. We were in a call this morning, the PAA team and the legislative affairs team wanted me to share a statement with you. So a lot of emails are coming into PAA and asking, hey, my management company operates out of Georgia, and the home office is in Georgia. And so those management companies are maybe calling some of our properties here in Pennsylvania and saying, go for it, open the doors, operate as normal. But we have to be very careful because we're in Pennsylvania, so we have to operate with the Pennsylvania mandate. So this is what they wanted me to share with you. As different states across the country begin to have different directives coming from the respective government officials, it is important to everyone to keep in mind that all Pennsylvania is currently in the red phase of the COVID-19 reopening phases. All business operations in Pennsylvania must follow the current Pennsylvania guidelines and laws. Starting next week, certain counties, primarily in northwestern and north central Pennsylvania, will be entering the yellow phase. As more information and direction comes from the governor's office, PAA will make sure to relay it to you. The vast majority of PAA membership do not have significant operations in the counties that will be opening up. So most of your operations will not be impacted by this. I want to just flip here to screen for you, if it works for me. Oops, it's going too fast. The government affairs and legislative issue teams, if you have questions about opening or questions about how you open your common area spaces, they are there for you. They oversee the whole entire state of Pennsylvania, so it doesn't matter the county or the city that you're in, they can help answer your questions. You can send any of those questions to info@paahq.com. And if they don't have the answer, we can always rely on our partner, the NAA, to help answer questions like that as well. So, let's switch gears for a second. Before we get started, I wanted to introduce Valerie Crapo. She is with our events and sponsorship team, and she just wanted to speak really quickly to our managers out there about the Best of Living Awards coming to a city near you. Valerie, if you can take the floor, please.
So that's the rhyme and reason for my backdrop. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. There's been some questions, you know, of what is this? Some of the regions in the state may not have done this before, but we currently have registration open for the program. We hire outside third-party company who will come and judge the properties according to what you sign your property up for. This will take place in July, August, and September. So those who have done this program before, we've pushed things back, obviously, with COVID-19. So after the awards, we have also pushed the awards dinner programs. Each one is in a region. One's in Pittsburgh, one's in Hershey, and one is at Drexel Brook. So you will compete with the properties in your specific region, and it's going to be based upon the number of apartments you have and the age of the property. So if you were built in 1950, you're going to compete with properties that are built in your area and region and time frame as far as when the property was built. So I usually do it by decades, but you know, depending on how much was built in a particular decade. I know in the 80s, not that much was built, so they may be grouped with the 90s and et cetera. So we're excited because this is happening. It does not involve, it's a great program for you to get your team members on point and get them back into, because we're going to be swinging into this, and everybody is right now, doing your virtual tours, doing everything that you can do as far as leasing apartments. And I think, and your maintenance teams, et cetera. So this is a good way to get everybody back on point, I think. And so the program's going forward. If for some reason COVID-19 is not going to allow us to have a big fancy event, then we will look at it that time. But no matter what, there's going to be a winner. There's going to be winner in categories, and properties will be awarded. We'll go to Plan B, but you'll still be able to get your awards. All right. Does anybody have any question about the program? We have some winners both on this call that I've seen in years past, and they're familiar with this, but there's others who have never done this before. So if you have any questions, certainly reach out to me. I'm here to help, and I can talk to you in further detail. But thank you, everybody, for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Valerie. Also, you can see Valerie's email address on your screen should you need to reach her. I did want to point out during our call today, if you could use the Q&A feature buttons there on your screen to ask any questions during the call. That's what I'll be looking to give the questions in addition to what we had today to our panelists. Thank you, Valerie. Okay. Before we get started, PAA always has a disclaimer that we use for any of our calls, so I'm going to read that to you. The coronavirus crisis is a fluid, dynamic situation. Details are changing rapidly, and new information is being learned every day. In addition, most of us are in uncharted waters, so best practices are being written in real time. What we are presenting is our best guidance based on what we know today. Each individual company and manager will need to make their own decision based on their property and business needs. Nothing presented today should be considered legal advice or mandates by PAA or any of the presenters. You should check with your local advisors and consultants on what is best for your business. So without further ado, I want to lend your attention to the screen. I wanted to thank all of our managers from around the state who helped organize this event. They helped create the questions that we'll be addressing today. So big round of applause to all of our panelists today. So the program for today's call will be for me to ask questions that were created by our state managers, that certain questions will go to certain people. I'll ask the questions, they'll give some answers, and then if there's other questions that arise during this program, please enter it in the Q&A section of the screen on the bottom there. We'll try and keep all the questions flowing one from another. We'll try and answer all questions you have. If we don't, we will be able to email you later with some additional information. Let's get started. Linnea and Ashley Moeller, you're first today. Welcome. And also when the panelists speak, they're also going to announce what part of the state they're in, what their title is, and the management company that they work for, so you guys get a good sense of where they're coming from. So today, what are some of the virtual events you're doing at your properties right now, Linnea, to keep your residents engaged?
Thanks, Amy. Hi, guys. I'm Linnea Bonjourney. I am in the Pittsburgh region at Hines Lofts. I'm the property manager, and we are Altera Property Group, but our home office is in Philadelphia. So you guys have probably, that are over in the Philadelphia area, are probably more familiar with Altera. But we were always known in our area for our resident events. I mean, we would do huge events every month. Happy hours, baseball games, you name it, we've done it. So this was a huge investment for us. So we've done different social media competitions. We had a decorate your window and post it on our social media page. The person got a Uber Eats gift card, that type of thing. So we've done that. We've done post before and after pictures of a room that you redecorated while you're at home in quarantine. The different with scavenger hunts throughout your apartment, and post what you find, that type of thing. And also what we were able to do is host food trucks. We have a pretty large property that we're able to accommodate a food truck. And we've had residents come down and buy their lunch or buy their dinner, all while social distancing. We'll mark off on the ground, 6 feet apart. We ensure when people come down, they take it back up to their room. We're not, putting out any tables or chairs or anything like that. It's strictly like it would be just on the side of the street. You grab your lunch and go. But that has been a huge, huge success. I think we've had 4 or 5 of them already. And we have them every week, a different food truck.
Amy, you're on mute.
You're muted, Amy.
Ashley, how about you? What are you doing over on that side of the state?
So we are also participating in the food truck stuff, bring them out here, make sure everybody stays apart, it takes their meals back to their home. We're offering different raffles. Right now we have a patio decorating contest going on for the springtime, really encouraging our residents to break out those brightly colored decorations, their wreaths, maybe if they can get some flower baskets together, do that and beautify the community as we head into the spring and summer season, and of course prepare our communities for curb appeal for heavy leasing season and best of living awards season. We've done Facebook bingo, which was a hit. We put bingo cards in our rent drop box and we called numbers on Facebook on a daily basis. So that went over pretty well. And then, the other thing that we've done, which really isn't a resident event, but just a way to keep us kind of engaged, is since our fitness center has been closed, we did e-blast the residents a free trial of wellness beats so that they could still work out from home, which went over really well too. So kind of the same thing, doing the best we can to keep everybody engaged and keep those events moving while we're kind of stuck in the situation we're in right now.
Thank you, Ashley. I know Apartment Life had published something this week. They had 9 resident events, and I do have that document. If anybody would like me to share that with them, I can. They had some really good ideas. I think there was about 9 or 10 of them, so we can definitely share that with you. Let me switch gears now to, we heard what people are doing for residents. How about what's happening with traffic out there? Now that you're working more virtually, what are you seeing with traffic? Is Ashley Kennardine on the line?
Yep, I'm here.
Hello,
I'm going to interrupt. Sorry, I have 2 questions that came in through Q&A.
Okay.
If you want to ask those first, it's about the food. Okay.
Yeah, let me pull them. Hold on one second. Okay, the first one. What food truck company are you using? This is a high rise in Philadelphia. So if you have any leads for food trucks, if we could answer those questions for Lisa today.
So I'm in the Pittsburgh market. I don't have necessarily connections for the Philadelphia market, but I can work on that, and so we can send that out later on. Absolutely.
Perfect. We can get that out to you, Lisa. That's no problem. And then we have what company and what region is Ashley from?
Hi, I'm sorry, I forgot that. Thanks for calling me out. My name is Ashley Moeller, and I work for RP Management in the Harrisburg area.
Perfect. Thank you, Ashley.
Of course.
Okay. So the question we're going to ask is, how is traffic looking now that you're virtual? So I'm going to switch over to Ashley again. Ashley Kennardine, could you answer that question for us today?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So I'm Ashley Kennardine. I work with Burger Rental Communities in suburban Philly, specifically Montgomery County. I was looking at our numbers year over year from March 1st to today. And it looks like my properties are a little bit different because we are a little bit more occupied on a consistent basis. So I looked more towards our qualified leads, which would be that we are in their price range, we have their availability, floor plan, and move-in date. So we did see a little bit of a we saw a 64% decrease in qualified leads from last year. However, what I thought was really interesting is that we sold at 100% for this time compared to 60% last year. And 61% of those applications from this year were approved. So we're definitely seeing more qualified leads, which is kind of exciting to see. Majority of our leads are phone and internet. Regardless of COVID-19, we really don't see a lot of walk-in traffic. But I just thought it was really interesting to see that the quality of our leads has, improved significantly since last year.
Excellent, Ashley. Thank you so much. Brad, you're on the line. Let's switch gears. Let us know what's happening out your way.
Hi, Amy. Yeah, my name is Brad Mooney. I'm from the Cork Factory in Pittsburgh. GMH Capital Partners out of Newtown Square, PA is our management company. Echoing a little bit what Ashley said, yes, it's very economical, I would say. You know, if you need an apartment, you're out trying to get one. If you don't, you're generally staying home. That was especially true, I think we found through the first couple weeks of this. After that, we saw a little bit of a burst for about 2 to 3 weeks of people who I think were hanging back a little bit to see how everything was going to shake out. They bit the bullet, they came out, they did virtual touring. And then after that, it's kind of gone back into a little bit more of a lull. So, we expect to see that as sort of being, unless you really need an apartment, we're not going to see you. So hopefully closing ratios continue to stay high, but it's been really helpful since we're on a rotating staff basis that, there's less people to help out. So it's kind of nice that the traffic is a little bit down, especially because, as Ashley said, they're probably the people who were, leasing last year. And so, yeah, it's been a little bit hit or miss, but in general, I think it's obviously way down from normal April or May, but I think it's a little bit exceeded my expectations in terms of where I thought we'd be. And technologically, it's been great because now we're, all up to speed in these things that, we might have been slow adopters for otherwise, that we've kind of been forced into the situation. So I think as people in their work life, do calls like these every day, they're getting more familiar with the technology. We're able to incorporate it. And I think it's been something that otherwise would have taken a long time to catch on. And right now it's very, it's everyone's on board. So it's been interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think that with all the properties in my region, we were very surprised at how consistent the leads and tours were. So that's a good thing.
I think it's helpful if everybody says what type of property you have and maybe rent range, because you were saying, Ashley, that you saw traffic and more conversion rate.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious what type of property you have.
So we have conventional properties, and our rents are in the high 900s to upper 1300s for 1 and 2 bedroom apartment homes. We have been increasing rents over the last 1.5 to 2 years. They were much lower before. But I don't think that has, it hasn't really affected our traffic or anything like that.
That's perfect. The next question deals with closing ratios. And I'm gonna bring in some of our panelists on the call to talk about closing ratios, because they've changed a lot since back in the day. We heard from Ashley, we heard from Brad talking about how they are qualified. I just want to talk in terms of qualified traffic and closing ratios. So I'm going to turn this over to Sherry Bushell to let us know how your closing ratios are working at your properties.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sherry Bushell. I'm currently working with Hankin Apartments as a community manager on a 55 and older building in Exton, which is in the western suburbs of Philadelphia. So answering this question, we've been having continuous meetings with all of our managers, so I have heard what my sister communities are doing, and all of our properties are located in Chester County, so it's all local to where we are. My closing ratio hasn't been good, but then my occupancy is 98% because it's all 55 and older. So I'm in a whole different ballpark than everybody else is. But managers of our other communities, we have 6 communities in the area, all conventional 2- and 3-story buildings. Rent ranges are from probably in the 1,200s up to about 2,000. And then we have a lease up that's going on right now that I think her rents fall right in that general area. They're probably the one that's struggling the most, which from what I've been reading is normal in this area right now, because, or generally across the state, that they say stabilized properties are holding their own from an occupancy standpoint, but lease ups are going to struggle. And what Brad was saying about if people don't need to move, they're not going to be looking, but there are people out there looking. So from a closing ratio perspective, based on the traffic that the other sites have had, we're holding our own and staying pretty consistent. I think the key point is we're doing virtual tours and FaceTime tours. So they, you know, obviously everybody's kept their marketing up, which we should never not be marketing. And everybody's been working really hard on that to make sure that they're covering all their bases. But even with the change in how we're actually leasing, the people who are interested are still there, and we're getting the qualified traffic. I don't think they've really been seeing that much unqualified. That's been the interesting thing. We're seeing more qualified because everybody's leasing the same way right now, and the qualified traffic knows what we're looking for. The only thing I can say that we keep encouraging more so than ever before is the communication piece. When you're leasing to somebody in person, you're forming that relationship with them as they come in, and it's much easier to do that way. When you're doing it via email or, you know, phone call or social media, whatever it may be, you're hopefully gaining that same feeling with the person that you're working with, gaining that feeling with you, but you have to work harder at it, is what I see. And you cannot stop communicating, because, you know, that you may not meet this person until they physically come in to get their keys. So I think that as long as everybody's staying on their game with the communication, and they have the availability, and they can meet the technology demands with the virtual tours and the FaceTime tours and whatever else creative items people are coming up with, I think the closing ratios on the stabilized communities will be okay.
Thank you so much, Sherry. I appreciate that. Jean, we had talked last week. Jean is working. I'm pretty sure you're not working with your teams, but you miss them very, very much. I know that.
I do. I have a team of 17 people, and I work for Burger Rental Communities, by the way. I manage a 700 unit community in Bucks County for them. And yeah, it's been a little bit rough the past 6 weeks. And, you know, I've had to split my team up. We're operating on a 7-day-a-week schedule, 10-hour days. So we're making it work. And, you know, to talk about closing ratios a little bit, you know, I am noticing, you know, throughout our whole entire company, not just my property, a huge increase in closing ratios. And like Sherry said, I think a lot of it has to do with it is more qualified traffic that's coming in. They're people that are serious. They're people who really need the lease, you know, because if you're just out there looking, people are probably more likely to put it on hold a little bit. So, you know, we are seeing a big increase in that. As a matter of fact, year over year, from last year, it's a 60% increase in our closing ratios from this time last year, just over the past 6 weeks. So, past 6 weeks, we've averaged 56.5% closing ratio company-wide. So that's pretty darn good. But, you know, of course, our traffic has also decreased too. But, you know, we're doing virtual tours. We're doing a lot of in-person tours. We believe it or not, we have a lot of walk-ins. You know, fortunately, we have a nice big glass, you know, doors and windows that as you walk in, and we're able to communicate pretty easily with prospects that are coming in, and able to really assist them and at least get a little bit personal there. And we're allowing them to actually tour the units, the actual units. You know, we're keeping them ready after they're toured. We're cleaning them thoroughly, and people are leasing on the spot. We started out at about 97% occupancy when this all started. We've dropped about 1%, and we're struggling to maintain that 96%, but we seem to be doing it.
Perfect. Thank you,
So-
Jean. There was a question that came in prior to the start of our call. And, you know, Jean, I'm kind of going to reflect this back at you because you kind of touched base on a little bit. They asked if you are doing in-person tours, how are you doing that? And they just wanted some advice on how you do that. They also wanted advice on how they transition from not touring in person to touring in person again. So if you could just touch on that, what you're doing there, and then we'll go into our next question, that would be great.
Sure. Well, we're not actually accompanying them on the tour, but when they come in, we provide them with the information that they're looking for. We give them price quotes, and then we take their driver's license. They kind of slip it under the door, and we slip the keys to them. And we, you know, offer them the opportunity to go, you know, take their time and look through the apartment. When they come back, we ask if they have any questions. And, you know, most people, you know, they're ready apartments. They love it, and they're ready to sign right then and there. So we've been pretty successful with that.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We're going to switch over to these virtual tours. We're hearing all about these virtual tours, and I know that our managers on the line today are using many different applications to do these tours. Some have bought GoPro cameras. There's some other camera stabilizers that you can use through Apple, I know. So we just kind of wanted to ask our panelists, what are they using? What do they feel that's working? What's their favorite thing? And up on this subject first is going to be Monica Frazier.
Hey everybody, my name is Monica Frazier. I'm an executive property manager for Village Green based out of Pittsburgh. So what we've been doing, I actually manage a mid-rise luxury apartment. So a lot of our interactions with prospects have been completely virtual, favorably through FaceTime and Skype. Easy to use, people are most comfortable with those things, which is why we prefer them. We have also put emphasis on virtual tours and personalizing videos. So we'll do certain things where maybe someone's moving in because, like someone said, we don't get to interact anymore with them. We'll send them a quick video of us like finishing up their apartment or setting up their welcome kit in the unit before they get there, things like that. We've done virtual tours. We did a pre-recorded, our site's short name is MCA, so we call ourselves MCA Cribs to try to go with the MTV Cribs option and be creative with that. We're really trying to be fun with what we have as tools. We do rely on the accuracy of our advertising to, you know, make sure we are properly sharing how we can do those virtual tours. So we changed our ILSs to reflect verbiage that says, contact us about virtual tours. We have a pop-up on our website, all that kind of stuff. Because some people don't know how they can actually tour the so I would say most of my staff really prefers FaceTime because it's more comfortable. But we don't really use any specialized like GoPro or anything like that. We just are relying on our marketing materials, maybe fresh photos from the week if it's a day outside, to just kind of keep that content fresh. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Monica. And I think it would be really good after this call for those of us that are on it to maybe share some of the Facebook links from some of our management properties. So if you have those, you can send them over to me, panelists, and I'll get those out for people to follow you, see kind of the new things that you're doing. I know because I'm in Pittsburgh, I do see what Monica's doing, and she does have some really, really great ideas on Facebook that everyone can follow. I'm going to ask Rebecca to chime in here and let us know some of the things that they're using at their site. Thanks, Rebecca.
Hi, thank you. My name is Rebecca Wyke. I work for Woodmont Properties. I manage Woodmont Valley in Lower Macungie in the Lehigh Valley. So it's a conventional luxury apartment community. And my team is actually working completely remotely at this time. So the transition to virtual tours and utilizing apps and everything has been at first a challenge, but we've gotten used to it to the point now where I'm like, it's going to be weird being back face to face in the office. I do miss it though. But I've found number one with the prospects is determining their comfortability level with, you know, it's not a cookie cutter, you know, one size fits all for these virtual tours. We have a demographic that is made up of a lot of, I wouldn't say elderly, but, you know, home sales, empty nesters, retirement age, and they're not always comfortable with FaceTime or some of these virtual apps. So I created separate PDF booklets with photos and floor plans addressing all the different, we have 19 floor plans. So lots of PDFs to send out as we need to. But if they are at all comfortable, definitely encouraging that face-to-face aspect, because like you said, Monica, many times we're not even able to be there when they move in, if they're moving in quickly. So we are going out to the property to take videos of their specific apartment if they want us to, and trying to make that face-to-face with them. We're also very fortunate we have Matterport tour videos on our website. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Matterport, but it's awesome because they can literally click through the apartment on the floor plan and it's a virtual tour that's already right there online. So that's been awesome. And yeah, like you're all saying, the conversion ratios have been incredible. Traffic continues to come in. So it's encouraging. Ready to be back in the office, but this, you know, we're all getting there with this virtual tours.
Thanks, Rebecca. I appreciate
you.
that. And Rebecca, maybe you could share that source with us that you're using to.
The Matterport?
Yep, that would be great.
Sure,
Share that source
absolutely.
with us and we'll get that out to the group as well.
Definitely. Thank you.
I think there was a, sorry, my screen keeps going back and forth. There was a question, I think.
Oh,
Maybe not.
we wanted to ask all the attendees, since you can't talk, we're going to ask you if your leasing office is open currently right now.
Yeah. It's about 50% right now. So.
Yeah, it's actually it's 50%.
It's actually 50%. So some of you are open and some of you are not. So yeah, it's amazing to see how it differs around the state as well. I know we've been talking about this, and I'm sure this is a good question to ask, but we want to ask about the question, how are rents coming in this month as opposed to last month? So taking a look at delinquencies. Our first person I'm going to ask today is going to be Roger Dixon. And Roger, could you share with the group if it's an A, B, or C property that the differences you're experiencing?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I'm the general manager for Pennsylvania Place. It's a 25-story high-rise in downtown Harrisburg. Our corporate office is in Philly. It's a Miramar Enterprises. Our average rent's about $1,200 to $1,350. And so that kind of gives you a little idea of where I'm at, what I'm working with. We ended April with a 0.3% delinquency, and that was only because we have a holdover eviction pending in the court system. So we're kind of stuck with that, and it's just going to keep growing a little bit. You know, May has been phenomenal for us. We, as we went through April, we started to relax, and so we took a day to celebrate and relax, and then we started worrying about May. May is turning out to be even better than April for us early on. We were at 8% delinquent in April at this point in time, and here in May, we're only at 4% delinquent. So our collections are higher than we had anticipated. So we'll do the same thing. We'll take a few minutes to celebrate this and then start to worry about June, you know.
Perfect. Thanks, Roger. Is there anybody, any of our panelists today that have seen the opposite of that? Maybe it's going in the opposite wrong direction. Anyone experiencing that on the call?
This is Lauren. I am. I am up in State College, so we have a lot of students who aren't currently here. So think because they can't come back to their apartment that they don't have to pay rent. And, you know, it's hard for a lot of their parents because their parents are facing the same issue with their mortgage. And now they have a mortgage and their kids rent. So which one are you going to pay? So we're starting off May, not the greatest, but we're optimistic about it. So.
Yeah.
Lauren, another question. Are you doing anything, any type of incentives to get them to pay right now? I've heard that across the board too, that some companies are offering an incentive for some payment, some form of payment, anything like that that you're doing.
So we're not offering incentives, but we will work with residents who want to work with us. So, you know, if they're trying the best they can and they're open about their situation, paying some that they can, we're letting some people apply their security deposits. We're doing payment plans. You know, we're just working with them however we can.
Perfect. Thank you so much. There also is a company out there. I don't know if you guys have heard of them. They're called Bond Renter. They actually are a new member of ours, but they are insuring security deposits. So maybe something you're going to look into because people are using their security deposits. They will insure that fund. So you might want to take a look at them too. Switching questions. I want to know about some managers out there who are doing some positive reinforcement for their teams. As you know, some are working one day at the office, one day off at the office. Some are completely not working at the office at all. Others are still going in on a normal basis. So I think a lot of this has been up in the air for some of our teams, and they may be getting tired. You know, this may be wearing on them. So what are you doing as managers to support those teams, give them positive reinforcement, motivate them? Vita, you're up.
Hey, good afternoon. Vita Williams from the Klein Company. I support Klein's properties in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, the suburbs of Pennsylvania. And yeah, I would say this is right up my alley. I'm all about that cheer squad leader. And one of the operations that we deployed immediately was Microsoft Teams. And I found that to be, I love Teams. I love the chat functionality. I love the video conferencing functionality. So that's, you know, I use it in regards to the impromptu conversations, just checking in, see how you're doing, any additional questions, things that we don't necessarily want to have online in an email or, and I would say phone calls. I mean, I've been on the phone more now than I have been in probably the last 10 years. It's just that direct connection, one-on-one. A lot of, you know, at this time, while it seems easier to send an email, it's actually less effective. I like that one-on-one, let's get down to it. You know, from a group setting, I have a Zoom call every Wednesday with my team where we get on just like this. And it's like, hey, how you doing? The first 10 minutes is talking about how's life, how's everybody doing? And then we get down to our normal agendas. And once a month, I host a sales call, that's Zoom, where we get all of our sales team members on and we're seeing everybody's faces and how's everybody going? And, you know, we get out in front of those conversations about virtual tours, new technology, questions that are coming up in terms of qualifications with applications. So that's what I'm doing. And, you know, a funny face here and there, a good joke, a great quote, just keep people encouraged.
Yeah, I love that. I know we're trying to do that PAA too. We're trying to put the element of fun in there. We're doing, you know, the morning cup of In the Know. I don't know how many people are watching that, but it is a really great series. So you should watch it. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, it's all there for you. So we have a fun video coming up next week too for our 90-second update. So we'll be watching for that. But I think that element of fun does ease everyone's emotions from time to time. I want to ask Will Farringer, he's on the call. Will, if you can tell everybody where you're from and the company you work for, and let us know what you're doing to motivate your team.
Hi everyone, this is Will Farringer. I work for Morgan Properties and I am located at Rochester Village at Park Place in Cranberry. Just like Vita said, what I've been doing is I started sending positive quotes to the team every morning. So I figure if I can get in there before they even get into the office to put them in a good mood, that will help. Also, I've taken the time just kind of talk to them individually when I can, see what's going on with their day. Because I know for myself, it's a lot of personal stuff. People are stressed out, so you want to, you know, build that rapport with your teams more than ever now. And when you give that positive energy out and positive reinforcement, actually what we're doing is we're changing their behavior, right? So we're going to end up conditioning them through all this if we're going the extra mile in this pandemic. Keep it going throughout the rest of the year or whenever we get through this, because at the end of the day, you will condition your team to do well every single time with your positive reinforcement. Compliment your teams. Doesn't matter what the task is or, you know, how the job was done, compliment them. Let them know that you're seeing what they're doing. You're actually listening to some of their calls and giving them positive feedback on that. Turn up the music in the office. I've been fortunate enough that I have my team here with me. We're operating as normal. We're practicing our social distancing and everything, of course. But I've had the luxury to get to see my team every day, so we haven't missed a beat there. And while we're kind of closed up in the office, just turn the music up, dance, have fun with it, get through the day. And again, compliment teams. Some of the stuff that I've been doing, I'm going to actually implement some staff celebrations on, you know, we all celebrate birthdays, but let's dig a little deeper and maybe personal stuff. Extra bonus, set goals every day, even if it's a small goal. Because anytime that we accomplish a goal, what does that do? It makes us happy. We have a positive outlook for the rest of the day. I also encourage my teams, if you're feeling a little bit stressed, go outside, take a break. Take a 5-minute walk. Get that blood flowing. And then when they come back, they're positive, guys. But the rewards are endless. You just got to find what you motivate your team and keeps them motivated. Some of it's they like gift cards or money. Some are motivated by coffee drinks. But a simple thank you for a job well done every single day goes a long way. And it goes right into, you know, when you give them that positive feedback, then they give the residents positive feedback. And there's lots of YouTube videos out there, guys, lots of ideas on how to encourage your team. And again, when you're giving positive reinforcement, you're changing their behavior. And there's a lot of research, and again, on YouTube, or if you research it on Google, you'll learn a lot that maybe you didn't know about how to give that positive reinforcement to your team, but make sure that it's working for them and for yourself.
Thank you, Will. That is all awesome techniques. You know, it's quite kind of an experiment, right? So you do it, you see what works and what doesn't work, and continue doing what does work. But I know even with our PAA team, we get on a call every morning. We see our faces every morning, just so we can share what's happening between each other and in our different departments. So thank you, Will, for that. This is a very important question that keeps coming up, and it's, how are you handling rent payments in your office? How are you handling renewal increases and late payments? So I'm going to turn it over to Michelle. Michelle, what are you doing there?
Okay, hello everyone. My name's Michelle Alastri. I'm a senior property manager for Toll Brothers Apartment Living. My property is in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania, just in Philadelphia suburbs. 398 apartments. We're a Class A property. We were built in 2014. So regarding rent payments, we've always had the option for our residents to make online payments. The difference, what we've also added, the credit card feature, we're not charging any fees. We started that in April. So that has really helped us, I believe, in collecting our rents April and especially May. We also have put into place a lockbox starting May. So residents are able to mail their rent to a lockbox through our software management system. We can also, we have the luxury, we're able to still, residents are able to put, we have a rent drop box within our mailroom. So they do still have access to that. So anyone that really does not feel comfortable mailing their payments, we have some residents do want to actually bring it into the office, but we're closed. So they're able to do that. Our office is open, not to the public or residents, but we do have the luxury, we're all at the site, which helps with communication. So we are able to process rent payments. But definitely the credit card feature, I think not charging fees has definitely helped us. Let me see, what else? Late payments, we are not charging any fees. I'm sure probably everyone else is too. So we're not charging late payments for the last couple of months, April and now May. So that has helped too with people trying to get their, if they file for unemployment and they're expecting money, that has definitely helped them to be able to feel comfortable in still being able to pay but not being charged a fee. Also renewals. We have had renewals, we're not doing any increases on our renewals through September 30th. So we have actually put out all our renewals through the end of September. This has helped with June and especially July, that people are not wanting to maybe make the decision to move, or they were going to buy a home and have decided to give it another year. So that makes them feel comfortable that they're not going to get an increase. We've always had a good renewal ratio. Our renewals have been like 60, 65%, but June and we've noticed is like 75% renewal. So that has definitely helped us. And I think it's helped our residents feel more comfortable that they're making the decision for them and that they know they have another year that they're going to pay the same rate. So.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Anybody, any of our panelists, anyone doing renewal increases or deciding on a different time other than September? Are you also not doing late fees? And are you collecting rent through the office or online, etc.? Anyone from the panel want to answer that question?
This is Sherry.
Sherry.
We, throughout our company, we are offering 1% increases, and it seems to be going okay. From the standpoint of collecting rent, we have the online capability. We also waive the credit card fee for anyone that wants to go online and do it by credit card. We also have a rent drop box in our mail center that if someone doesn't want to use an electronic system, they can put the check in the drop box, which we're also using for people to drop off other items like lease renewals and whatever as well. Because in my building with the 55 and older, a lot of it is I need to touch and feel it. I'm not going to do it electronically. So we're using all of those, but we did decide to do the 1% increases. We were up to 3% before this happened. And we've got renewals out through the end of July and into August already, and people are renewing.
That's awesome. Erica, you had a couple questions that came up, so I'm gonna let Erica take the floor.
Yes, I have two. Are any of the properties in the southeastern PA region have a need for hiring, maintenance technicians, or other building trades employment opportunities? Many students and graduates are seeking employment. I think the way we can answer this, if any of those properties are, you can forward your information to info@paahq.com. and we will get you in contact with Christine Bronson. So just after the webinar, just shoot us over your needs and we'll get you in contact with her. Another question.
Yeah, also Erica, to piggyback off of that too, if you have anyone if you're looking to fill a position, don't forget about our Career Center on the website too, because that's a really great avenue if you're looking for someone too. Sorry, Erica.
And also, to piggyback off that, if you are a member, you do have access to go in and see anyone who is seeking employment as well. The next question is, what are properties with gyms and pools doing?
I'm gonna kind of, so we do have a question coming up later about that, and I'm gonna open it up to the panel. So we'll hold off on that question because I'm gonna open that question up to the panel. But I want to talk about the way you're communicating with your residents, because obviously they can't come in the office as much as they used to. And I'm sure you still all have that one resident that needs your help. And so how are you communicating with them? Is it all phone-based? Are you using a certain application to communicate with them? Just wondering what you're doing. Let me see if we have any of these people on the phone. Is Lauren? Lauren, you're on the phone. Take it away.
Okay. I mean, we haven't done any new ways of communicating. It's just more heavily phone-based. Text-based is really, really helpful. Again, one of my properties has a younger student population, so they are just all about the text messaging all the time. So that's really, really helpful. And then we've also just kind of stepped up our social media presence. Since our maintenance team is only doing emergency work orders, we had them make videos of some simple non-emergency things that residents call in about, but we're not going to come in and do it. So here's how you can do it. It's really easy to just kind of guide them that way. And then obviously we're doing just a lot of, we're doing FaceTime, lots of Skype, just anything to keep the lines of communication open.
Perfect, thank you. And I know, are most of you using YouTube as your resource to get these videos pushed out? I was reading somewhere that YouTube has, their subscriptions have gone up 50% or something over the last month, so that's pretty exciting. A tip from Tony Blake. I was on a call last week that Tony Blake was on, and she said when you're doing your virtual tours, make sure you're not in the video. Are you guys doing that? Like finding that you're just taking videos of the apartment and not yourself talking the entire time? Or that was just one of the tips she gave. So I thought it'd be interesting to share on this call today too. I think a lot of the social media outlets are definitely, you're definitely increasing. Are there any apps that you're using to post information onto social media accounts? Anybody want to chime in on that?
Our company uses ResPage.
Okay, yep. Linnea, you use a social media platform to post pictures that look more professionally done. What app are you using to do that on your website, on your social media account?
I use Canva. Yeah, canva.com, and it's a free publishing website that you can create social media ads. You can create flyers to post in your property. It's a whole slew of different marketing items that you can create yourself. You can upload your own photos to the program. Some of their photos and some of their parts of it you have to pay for, but most of them are free. And the things that I've paid for might have been $1 here, $1 there, just so it doesn't have the Canva encrypted across the front of the picture. So yeah, I've used that for years. We use it weekly, at least, in our properties. Hootsuite you can also use to schedule posts on social media. And then you can also link your Facebook and your Instagram and Twitter all through each other. So if you post on one, it posts on all three. So you can just do that through your settings in those different social media platforms.
Thank you. I know some of the things that Eric and I play with here at PA would be like if you wanted to do a trivia game with your residents, you might want to look at Kahoot, K-A-H-O-O-T, and maybe look at Wheel of Names, which is my personal favorite. Or, I'm saying that right, Erica, right? Wheel of Names. So you can actually choose a winner per day at your property if you're doing something like that. It puts all of the names. You could use it on a first name or given numbers, but it puts it on there and you can spin it daily for a winner. So it's kind of a cool feature and it's free. It's free. So, okay. We have one question about how you're handling common area spaces as counties move from red to yellow to green. Now this is a topic of discussion I think we're going to have on our owners call coming up next week. So there may be more information from PAA to share, but have you heard anything from your leaders about how you're to handle this? And I kind of just want to make this a conversation piece so it would be amongst the panelists. So just answer as you can, but I know that's kind of what's the next step in all of this that's happening throughout the state.
So I know for us, we're making sure we have all the necessary signing that you're going to need once, you know, you can start to reopen different common area spaces. You know, of course, the social distancing is going to continue, but how do you open your community rooms and your gyms and ensure that people are following the social distancing guidelines? So, you know, I created and had a sign company make me some custom made signs for my property, some stickers from the floors to show 6 feet separation. We've walked the common area spaces to get a plan for when we can start to reopen. How many chairs do we have to remove? Do we remove them completely, or do we just move them around, or anything fabric? You know, should you remove it out of the community room because you can't really disinfect it without ruining the chair or the couch? In the gym, should you rope off treadmills, every other treadmill or every other elliptical? Do you need to remove some of the equipment? So those are all things that we're doing property by property to make sure that we are ready and that we can reopen slowly whenever we are given the go-ahead.
Thank you. Anyone else on this question?
This is Sherry. I agree with what was just said. We actually spent a lot of time last week walking all of our amenity space and, you know, how we're going to remove some fitness equipment and how we're going to group furniture, seatings and whatever, and even went through and measured out and created our own maximum occupancy for each space if everything was occupied at the same time. And also as well, you know, doing the slow reopening. I think the residents think that as soon as we hit yellow, I'm just going to go flip the switch and everything's going to be back to normal. And it's like, I've been preparing them, like, when this happens, first of all, everything's not going to open at the same time. And secondly, it will be a very slow opening with a lot of restrictions attached to it so that we can still encourage the social distancing and whatnot. And our biggest issue, one of the biggest issues, we have an indoor pool. So they've already been, you know, keep in mind, these are 55 and older. You'd think they'd know better, but they are pretty much at my door every day begging me, please open it, please open it. We need to exercise. And I'm like, it's not happening. And if it does, only about 3 of you are going to be in there at one time. So it's not going to go back to the 25-person classes that you were used to, because we used to offer indoor classes as well in various different types of exercises, and those aren't going to come back for a while. So it's going to be a very slow opening, and I know we're going to get some pushback, but we're just going to stand firm and say, you know, we're not going back to normal, and this is going to be your new normal until we can revise it a bit more.
I did have a question. Can I interject? The plexiglass, and I know you guys are talking about social distance. I know the governor's order talks about getting barriers and those kind of things. Are you guys working on that? Because I know that there's like hotels are all doing this. Everybody's on a backlog of this. So I was just curious.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Go ahead.
We found a good website that offers sneeze guards that are professional looking, but they're really nice. They don't look like the ones you're finding in grocery stores and things like that. And the pricing isn't too far off of what you would expect. So yeah, that was one of the things on our list, is to offer up sneeze guards, is what they call them, the big shields for the desk in the offices.
That's interesting.
Roger, can you share that website with us? Do you know it off the top of your head by chance?
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Interested in that.
Yeah, send that to me, Roger, and I'll get it out to the group. Erica, I think we had a comment come in. Do you want to share that?
Yes, Judy Watman, Director of Education, who's also on the call, wanted to make an announcement that PAA will be having a webinar on June 3rd, which will be addressing fitness centers, engaging residents, and how we make fitness centers safe for residents. So make sure you register for that, and you can get all the information regarding fitness centers.
Okay, so that's going to conclude our questions for today's session. Our next session will be on June 10th, same time, same place. We'll get the invite out to everybody. but I want you to be thinking about questions for next time. This will give us a whole other month of questions to come up with. So when you do that, you can always email them to info@paahq.com and we will get those on there for you. Before we end the call, I have one more announcement today from my partner in crime, Erica Caceres.
And if let's see, Monica's still on the line, I'd like her to chime in as well, because she is my also partner in crime for the Gen Now Committee. If you have yet to sign up for the virtual discussion panel for Wednesday, May 13th, we have an awesome lineup of panel speakers who will be discussing their career paths in the multifamily industry, and it's going to be a great event. It's our first virtual, I guess, networking event that we are hosting throughout the whole pandemic for Gen Now. Monica, do you want to add anything quickly?
Sure. Some of you probably got a call today. We are definitely encouraging everybody to register. If you have issues with your login, please reach out to Erica. She can help you. But long story short, we are challenging those who are attending to maybe invite a friend. There's going to be a lot of great information, especially those who maybe are new to the industry or are really exploring this as a long-term career. There's going to be a lot of great advice, real life examples that maybe you wouldn't get throughout your training. So if you are interested, there's been plenty of links, but if you need anything, please feel free to reach out to me or Erica, and hopefully we will see you all next week.
Yes, and I just launched a question. If you know your membership login or not, you'll also need these same credentials to register for Best of Living Awards, so that you can register your property for any category. Again, if you do not know those credentials, please email myself. Anyone on the PAA team will be able to give that to you at info@paahq.com, or there's our lovely contact information that Amy has up.
I am so grateful for all of you today, and thank you for doing this. It means so much, and I hope you got as much value out of the conversation as we did. I will be sending some of the follow-ups, and we have recorded this this session live, so I'll send the recording of this also to any of the attendees on the call to see if there's anything that you wanted to re-listen to. You'll have that ability. But I wanted to thank all of our panelists. Thank you very much, and get ready for the next one. Have a good day.
Guys,
thank you.
Bye.